Newcastle Knights versus the West Tigers. Sunday football on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Hello everyone, Sunday football comes to you from Marathon Stadium. Round 10 of the Telstra Premiership, and the West Tigers facing quite an uphill battle. They're coming up against a red-hot Newcastle Knights side that has won their last 4 matches. In that same period, the Tigers registering just 1 victory. And I'm told from within the Tigers camp, a very good week at training. An extremely good session yesterday. The one casualty was their coach, Terry Lamb, who suffered a hip injury. What a day for Ben Black on screen. Just 7 first-grade matches, opposed to Andrew Johns, his childhood hero. And now the Newcastle Knights. You talk about red-hot form. The man who leads them out in white-hot form, Andrew Johns. And most recently, their win over the Sharks here at this ground last Sunday. A come-from-behind win. And going into round 10, they were top of the table. Let's have a look at the Newcastle Knights lineup. And there are some changes to their starting side.
And the side looking to go back to sole lead of the competition has Hughes at fullback. No Robbie O'Davis again this afternoon. Ryder on one wing. A late positional change sees Tahu goes onto the wing. McDougall into the centres alongside Gidley. Rudder is the 5'8", John's the captain and half. Peden, Simpson and Kennedy the back row. Grief comes in for the injured Josh Perry alongside Badiris and Parsons. Interchange of Marquardt, Abraham, Bailey, O'Brien, coached by Michael Hagan.
And the West Tigers a chance to move into the top 8. Sears, Kane, Kafusi, Murphy, Carlaw, Simon and Black, Smith, Runciman and centre. The front row, Walker, Mesha and Scandalis. And on the bench, and a good bench, Galea, Lowry, O'Neill and Withers, coached by Terry Lamb.
And sideline duties with former Newcastle captain Paul Harrigan. Good afternoon.
Thanks very much. Yeah, conditions down here, a chance for a few showers later on, light nor'easter and 20 degrees. Look, the Newcastle Knights really do need to keep focused for this match. They've received a lot of publicity during the week. The West Tigers go into this game with a large physical forward pack who are under no expectations to win today, and I think they could be a real danger for the Knights. Just keep an eye out for Steve Simpson for the Newcastle Knights. He's been in really good form, a good young player.
Paul Simpkins, referee. And round 10 for these two clubs begins. John Simon gets us underway in his 222nd game. And the Newcastle Knights with Glenn Grief, the first hit up for the match. Running straight back at Chiriako Mesha. And now his front row partner, Glenn Grief, as Matt Parsons had probably his best game for the year last week. Tackled short of the 30-metre line. Simpson, the man the Chief has just wrapped. 30 tackles last week. And back with Grief. Second hit up, running straight at Shane Walker. Already 5 metres short of halfway. And Badiris to the left with Johns and Kennedy looking to spread the ball left. Smith came up, almost fell off in defence. Last tackle now for Newcastle. Very competent start from the Knights. Johns' kick. Man at fullback is Joel Kane. And from within his own 10-metre zone, tackled by Rudder. Interesting to look at the respective attacking and defensive stats of these two teams going into this match. And there's not a great deal of difference between the records of the Knights and the Tigers. Just 1 try the difference in attack. And in defence, the Knights' defence just 3 tries the better.
Just going a little bit further on that, Andrew, the West Tigers have been very poor first half defensively. They've conceded 136 this season in the first half, only 64 in the second half. They're actually the second best team in that area of all the sides in the second half. As John Simon, midfield bomb, got a bit of work to do here, Mark Hughes, but takes it nicely.
And Mark Hughes 25 metres out from his own line. So both teams getting through their first set without a great deal of problems. Now McDougall. Origin sides to be selected next Sunday evening. And with Rudder to the right they work Gidley. First match since the beginning of February. Broke his ankle in the trials. It must have felt like 4 or 5 months off for Matthew Gidley to start a year in such fashion. Newcastle 32 metres away from the Tigers line. Badiris for Rudder at first receiver. Johns is wide and decides to kick and sends McDougall and Ryder on the chase. The kick over the sideline. Ryder was going to have a real challenge at that ball if it bounced his way.
And the Knights trying to take advantage of a very, very narrow or compressed West Tigers defence, and it was actually a good idea, but Johns had to rush his kick, couldn't land it exactly where he wanted, and his disappointment there, knowing it was the right play, just probably not executed the right way.
The scrum just outside the Tigers' 10-metre zone. So a bit of pressure on the West men. 2-point losers last week to the Bulldogs. They trailed that match 16-0, fought back for a 16-14 result at the finish. And now Mesha away for their captain centre.
As you pointed out, Andrew, Newcastle have won 4 straight. Only 1 from 4 from the Tigers, but they do have a chance to go to 7th position. They can really make a move this afternoon. They can get away from the Dragons, the Raiders, and over the top of the Warriors. Ben
Black, ball kick before the last, and this is from inside the 40. Bounce goes his way, 40-20 from the little number 7. I thought Tahu had his leg on the sideline there, his foot on the sideline. Hughes comes back over the 10-metre line, but I think Newcastle may have had a bit of luck there. And now Tahu on the 20-metre line is tackled. Badiris back in field for Grief. Well, certainly Tahu's left foot. Grief has coughed it up. Skandalis gets to the loose ball. So the West Tigers get their chance, albeit a little belated. Kane in field with Simon. It really is a contrast between the 6 and the 7 for the Tigers. 222 games Simon, just 7 for Black. Here is Walker running at Simpson and then changed his course, but Simpson's got him. And with him, Bill Peden. Mesha. They're only 15 metres away, the Tigers. Tyron Smith. And now 5 metres away, West Tigers. First scoring chance of the match. Mesha running across field. The inside man is Ben Blackie is close, but Kennedy has him. Simpson and Grief over the top. Mesha. Simon. He only had Skandalis on his left. And Simon has to cop the tackle 10 metres out. This is the 5th tackle for the Tigers. So one of their kickers is out of the play. It then comes down to Black. Little kick, not a good one. Fielded by big Matt Parsons, coming down from the clouds to get it. And Newcastle back with the ball with Gidley.
A couple of disappointing plays there to finish the Tigers' set of 6. Kick not a particularly good one. Parsons didn't have too many problems despite his size. And the play before, John Simon just had to take a tackle as Adam McDougall throws the dummy. Straightens, beats 3, 35 out from his own line.
We've seen on occasions this year the Tigers' right side defence really put to the test. The Eagles showed up some glaring weaknesses a fortnight ago. McDougall's going to give them some hurry up on that side today. Johns, they will work to that side right now. Rudder and Peden straightens up. 30 metres away from the Tigers' line, got away from the winger Kafusi, and still the players alive with Newcastle. Andrew Johns with it. And he keeps it alive for Rudder. Then for Kennedy, then for McDougall. 10 metres away from the line. Hughes was there in support. Didn't receive the pass. Last tackle. The Knights with Andrew Johns. The grubber kick. A deflection off Skandalis. Sears had to change his course. Unloads for Black. And his rule, the ball was forced. A line dropout. It's a near thing, though, for the West Tigers.
Yes, good attack there from Newcastle. You pointed out that far side in defence for the Tigers. They've conceded 10 tries on that side in the last 3 weeks. Only 1 on the other side. The referee ruling that the ball was forced by Matt Sears. Not quite sure whether it was. Skandalis did pretty well getting the ball to Black. But in the end, the Tigers probably happy to kick it out from under their own posts.
Yeah, Peter, I think if that was at the opposite end of the field, I don't think you'd be saying that was a football force for a try, but Simpkins ruled it was enough for a line dropout. And Rudder with it. 32 away from the West Tigers line. Badiris, onside shot for Gidley. So he's got 2 matches, the potential of 2 matches to impress the Origin selectors. Here is Parsons. He's only 12 away from the Tigers line. Badiris another one looking to put his name bold up in front of the blue selectors. Grief only 5 metres from the line. They're set to the left, and here they come. Johns, long ball. Kafusi had moved in on the bounce to Ryder. Ryder's only 5 metres from the line. Getting across there, Murphy. Andrew Johns, he'll kick from 12 metres out. And he'll give Tahu the leap. He can fly high. Tahu with a chance in goal. It was put down by Joel Kane. Testing stuff.
Well, he's ruled here the ball has actually been knocked dead by Tahu. We see it comes off the West Tigers' Joel Kane. He's ruled that Tahu, well, Tahu was actually out of the field of play when he takes it. Tahu racing to get the ball and try and knock it back in field. Watch his right foot. His right foot will now go on the line before he touches the ball, which meant it should have been a line drop out to the West Tigers.
And Walker is with it for the West Tigers. An offload for his front row partner, Scandalis. Dearest there in defence with Rudder. And now Joel Kane. Only been back a fortnight and has coughed it up there. So Newcastle will get a scrum feed just inside their own half.
Well, as we see Joel Kane make another mistake, Phil Gould pointed out how compressed this West Tigers defence is. That kick from Andrew Johns looking for his far winger Ryder and McDougall in the centres will not be the last one you'll see this afternoon. Kafusi and Murphy really a long way in from the sideline. They will attack there all day, Newcastle, through the run and the kick.
And wide out with Ryder, having to keep it alive, and that was beautifully done in the end. Superbly done. Hughes getting to the pass, the speculator from Ryder. He ended up over the sideline. Here is Peter, 32 metres away, Tigers end of the field. Dearest, and up with Glenn Grief. They lose one front rower in Josh Perry. They get another one back. Clinton O'Brien back from suspension today on the bench. Gutierrez is 15 away from the line. And the hold of the jersey there was Shane Walker. Parsons gets into dummy half. New role for him, Rudder. Then for Hughes, and it just opens up with a dummy. And it has happened on the right side defence for the Tigers. Bad sign for Wests. And Newcastle lead by 4 points to 0.
Well, it's becoming more than a coincidence, these points being conceded down that side. Just the extra man. As we freeze it there, that's Mark Hughes coming. 3 defenders. We've got 3 attackers plus Hughes. His presence, as play continues, he takes advantage of the decoy run from Billy Peden. It then became 3-on-2. Murphy stayed with his man and a yawning gap for Mark Hughes to run through. It will be shown up very, very well front on here. There's the decoy play, 3-on-2. Murphy staying with his man and a stroll in the park for the try scorer, Mark Hughes.
But when you compress your defence so much, your outside men tend to panic about the opposition players that are on their outside. Now, Andrew Johns has gone to that side of the field with some long passes earlier in the game. That's not the way to beat compressed defence. That's what they want you to do. You go to it with short passes and decoys. And that was perfectly illustrated in that try. Mark Hughes clapping his hands knowing that's a set piece that's come off perfectly.
And Hughes at his 99th career first grade match.
I know we keep saying it. Sorry, Andrew, just what an unsung hero he is. Gets plenty of tries for them. In fact, he and Billy Peden, the only 2 players to play all 28 games last year. He does a great job for the Knights and probably doesn't get the necessary kudos.
And Johns with 100 points next to his name this season. His first kick of the day successful. He's in great form in all departments. Sunday football, Knights lead the Tigers 6-0. Newcastle Knights top of the table after round 9, and here looking to reclaim their lead after the win last night of the Brisbane Broncos. Good restart from Simon. It was headed over the sideline. McDougall knocked it forward. The Tigers get the ball back. It's a play you're probably more likely to see at 20 or 30-0. They've played the card early here, the West Tigers. Tyron Smith, 25 metres away from the line. Rueful look on the face of Adam McDougall. John Simon, 15 away from Newcastle's line. Mesher at dummy half. Black, the first receiver on the left, with Scandalis now running an angle, forcing Gidley to come up in defence there with Rudder to make the tackle. Centre, and again with Ben Black. And he is copping the treatment, Black, almost back to the 20-metre line. Kennedy and Grief and Baderas, all their weight in the tackle. Mesher for Simon. Flat pass there for Smith, kept it alive well for Sears. 5th tackle, Tigers. Simon's on the right side, and he's with it. Kicking from 10 metres out. Ryder will have to jump here for the ball. He doesn't get to it. It has come off Justin Ryder. Now picked up by Bill Peden. Simpkins says play on. Smith comes across in cover and makes the tackle. 38 metres away from the Newcastle line. I did think that Ryder might have got a hand to it in goal.
Just wondering if there's any interference by Adam McDougall on one of the Tigers' chases here as well. Lee Murphy. Well, I guess accidental. The referee saw it. Call play on.
There's no doubt, though, Ryder got his hand to it. So Newcastle attack with Grief and a juggle from Badeiros and keeps it going for Johns, and in one motion passes for Gidley. 40 away from the line. Ryder down for Newcastle on the left wing. Simpson. Not looking good for Ryder, in fact. Trainer motioning that he may have to come from the field. Johns floating ball. It may have gone a tad forward as well. It was on the last tackle. Changeover now with a drop ball at the finish. And Trent Runciman back for the Tigers, replacing the injured Luke O'Donnell today. That is a loss. O'Donnell was one of their best last week against the Bulldogs. Here's Scandalis to halfway. Ryder still out there for the Knights, but he is limping on the left wing. And with John Simon. 45 metres away from the Knights line. Some of the star personnel out. Well, McGuinness and Field are gone for a while. Craigie's still on the bench as well with an ankle injury. And O'Donnell added to that list this week. Here's Ben Black. 25 from the line for Sears. Sort of bobbled out of his grasp. Pulled it in and then tackled by Simpson. This is the 5th tackle for the Tigers. Simon, high ball this time. Across to the wing of Tahu. It won't get anywhere near Tamana Tahu. Scandalis, not a good bat down, and Tahu saw an opportunity to run 80 metres and score. He only made 5, but if he beats one man, he does go all the way.
There's a poor kick by John Simon. You had plenty of time there to find the in goal or to put some pressure on the people at the back. Virtually put pressure on his own football team.
Now with Parsons. Centre there with Scandalis. Glenn Grief inside the Tigers' half. Walker able to hang on. Dearest, they're 45 away. Rudder, cut-out ball for McDougall. Puts another test on Murphy. Got away from him, got away from Smith. McDougall will go all the way to score for the Knights. It is bordering on embarrassing for the West Tigers. It's a clear pathway down that right side. And McDougall has just run away to score 10-0.
And a real confidence booster for Adam McDougall. He was well contained by the Sharks last weekend. But here he puts a move on Murphy. The big fend steps inside Smith next to Simon and then outpaces Kaufusi and Matt Sears in a brilliant individual effort. When you have a look at it in slow motion, that's quite a job to get it over from 30 metres out.
Now, this is the difference between a great play and a great player. The long ball is not the way to beat the compressed defence, but you throw it to a man who's got a strong left foot step and plenty of power and speed to match, and he turns really no chance at all there into a try for his team. Great individual talent there from Adam McDougall. John Simons was extremely lazy back on the inside. He was the one that put up the poor kick that gave Newcastle good field position for this set of 6. But Adam McDougall become a real find for the Newcastle Knights since he's returned home here. He's been a star for the team, star for the country, star for his state, and he's lining up for a big Origin series, judging by the form he's displaying here today.
I think a really good coaching move by Michael Hagan too, to put McDougall on that side of the field in the centres and to keep Gidley and Tahu together, who worked up such a wonderful combination, especially last season.
John's kicking at 78% this year after the lessons from Halligan. This one off the upright. But they have made the start here. They're out of the boxes. Newcastle leading the Tigers by 10 points to 0. 17 minutes gone in Sunday football, and the Tigers restarting on the back of the Adam McDougall try. And I will pose a question to the former New South Wales coach Phil Gould as Grief brings it back. Is McDougall any consideration to play centre? I know he's playing on the left side, same as Ryan Girdler, but is he any consideration?
He can play anywhere, I've got no doubt about that, but if the man out here at right centre, Matthew Gidley, comes through the next couple of weeks unscathed, I would expect him to be a centre partner with Ryan Girdler. And Adam McDougall, that rough and tumble type winger you're going to need in limited interchange football at Origin level, comes in and helping his forwards. Here he is down the left hand, instigating something again. But he's one of those rough and tumble players who'll come in and do a job for you.
They're 40 metres away from the West Tigers line. Andrew Johns, and then on for Rudder. Rudder ball is intercepted by Carlaw, and the former Newcastle Knight is away, and there's no one at home to catch him. Got away from a diving Andrew Johns, and the Tigers have got something to celebrate. And in a moment, it'll be 10 points to 6. Try to Carlaw.
And a much-needed one for the West Tigers. John Carlaw played mostly winger this year, moved into the centres, and with Newcastle playing fairly flat on this occasion, he was able to pluck the ball out of the air. See Sean Rudder trying to throw the cutout pass, and that would have been danger for Newcastle because Gidley had an unmarked man on his outside. But John Carlaw with some good hands goes 60 to 70 under the blue dot.
Yeah, I think the Newcastle Knights were caught out here by the fact that the left-hand defence of the Tigers comes up and in, whereas the right-hand defence of the Tigers has been sliding out and staying back. It just caught them a little bit by surprise that Carlaw had moved up into that flat line of offence, looking for an intercept. It's become very prevalent in our game today. When the offence wants to play flat, if you can get yourself up there, you're every chance of coming up with the ball yourself. But for the West Tigers defence, their left-hand defence defends differently to their right-hand side.
And Joel Kane from right in front, only 1 from 3 last week. And successful with his first kick. So the margin is 4, 10 points to 6, 20 minutes gone, but Chief, just a little reality check there for the Newcastle Knights.
Yeah, much needed too. John Carlaw, he likes to chance his hand every now and then, and this was good work by him, but Newcastle got to make sure they don't get into the complacency which you mentioned, and also this year they've been going extremely well by just grafting away, no sort of lateral movements, and I think they've got to make sure they do that this game. John Carlaw, he's a good player from Newcastle too.
And Andrew Johns restarts play. This one down the throat of Joel Kane, 15 metres out from his own line. Good pressure today too on Rudder when you think about it, with Gidley back. Suddenly there is pressure on retaining that number 6 jumper.
It was a very strange kick there from Andrew Johns. Really gave good field position to the Tigers straight away. The tackle was made comfortably outside the 20-metre line. Normally used to seeing them driving down into the in-goal area and force the opposition to take tough metres away. But the Tigers now on the 4th, well and truly away from their own line.
And Runciman a dummy half, and Walker will take them up to 1 short of the end of the count, able to offload there for Simon. This is good football from the Tigers. Matt Sears, then back for Simon. The chip over the top of Hughes, only needs the bounce. John Simon overruns the football. He was waiting for the bounce. It didn't come his way. He couldn't get a dive in. In the end, he's butchered it.
Well, I don't know about butchered it. He deserved this try. He did everything right. The little kick over Hughes. He looked odds on to score. It just, look, I can't blame him. It was obviously a difficult bounce because otherwise John Simon would have eaten this. He was going to pick it up the bounce before. The one he went for it kicked up higher than he expected. What a lovely move, but.
Shine in, put him in.
Scrum 10 metres out from the Knights line. Incredible match. He scores there. Tigers in front with a conversion from in front. And here is Tahu. And back, and he's lost the ball in the Walker tackle. Play on for the Tigers. Runciman. Newcastle Knights derailed now. They've cast a shoe. Going across field centre. 5 metres away from the Newcastle line. Mesha, a look up to the left, finds Ben Black. Forward ball there to Skandalis. Take your pick, forward pass or drop ball. He rules on the forward pass.
Yeah, decoy runner overrunning his role here. It was a nice play. Black probably threw it to the wrong man, but if you're going to be a decoy runner, you've got to keep yourself in possession to get the ball, position to get the ball. You've got to expect it. And that time, John Skandalis, not really expecting the football, turned it down, actually got himself in an offside position rather than running the right decoy line.
Well, John's long pass from the scrum base for McDougall in the centres. And the wrestle begins. He got away from Simon. Murphy thankfully comes up with a tackle on his opposing centre today. Now Ryder, he's lost it in the tackle. Well, Simpkins going to rule stripped. I just wonder whether there was only one in the tackle when the ball came out. It finished up 2 in the tackle. Simon there. There's only one in the tackle when the strip was taking place.
You're exactly right. Shane Walker hadn't become involved.
The line ball calls so far in this match have definitely gone all against the West Tigers. Marquetta's out there. And Walker in defence. And 5 inside their own half. Well, Marquette first touch of the ball. And he's gone up like a fighter who's gone 10 rounds, and he's ended up on the wrong end of the points decision. Rudder. Inside Tigers territory, again away from Simon. Scandalis there to cover up. Badiris. Simpson picked up the speed as he got to the line, trying to break through the Mesha tackle. Badiris for Johns. He's got them guessing. And that time, running at the line. Scored a solo try last week. Rudder here on the last. 15 out. Johns like kick across the park. Don't know whether the outside men were too ready for it. Murphy, a fumble. It comes off okay. Little Black is in trouble. Kennedy makes the tackle, but just for one moment. I think it was heart-pounding stuff. He thought, I'm headed back to the in-goal here. And Kafusi tackled 10 out.
Lincoln Withers on the sideline, about to come into the action as a penalty goes his side's way. And Julian Bailey, one of the men penalised. He is now on, obviously, for the Knights in jersey 15.
Tigers the relieving penalty. Down by 10 points to 6. Jason Lowry. And straight through the line goes Big Jason. 31 years of age. And has played some pretty good footy this year. Scandalis. With a Kennedy and Markwood tackle. Quick play the ball from Scandalis for Mesha. Inside, Lowry wants another touch. Tackled by Kennedy, and again Markwood with him. Tyron Smith. Looking a lot sharper now, the Tigers. Smith has lost it in the three-man tackle. Straight away, McDougall wants a gallop. And the Knights are back with a 35 out from their own line. 2 tries early, led 10-0. Momentum has gone, though, for the moment. Here is Hughes. He was the man who scored the first try. And they're now only 42 metres away. Johns to the right, spinning away from centre, and Lowry linking up with Bailey. And they creep a little closer with Badiris. Makes 15 out of dummy half. He's lost the ball. Simpkins, no ruling there. Play on, West Tigers.
They look to be in second gear, don't they, Newcastle? And they want to be very, very careful, because the more possession this West Tigers team is starting to maintain, the more they are warming into this match. Apart from that,
loose play from the Tigers. Joel Kane is not having the best of afternoons.
Little mousetrap play here. Mesha lets the ball go. Joel Kane picks it up. The ball hits his foot before his hands. He bobbles it on the mousetrap. Well, they had no cheese in it. No result.
That mouse is out of here.
He liked that one, Gus. Bit of a chuckle then too. He's a wordsmith, Bossy.
The aim into that. 30 metres away from the line. And Newcastle a scrum feed. Rudder, I noticed down in the centres, Murphy coming up out of the line, staring McDougall down. They're 25 away, Hughes. And with Bill Peden. There's a chance here for Newcastle. Gidley, and back inside for Markwood. He rolls the pass forward, and Markwood had got there. Tigers hang on.
This is the first time in the last 3 sets of 6 that the Newcastle Knights have gone back to that right-hand defence of the Tigers. They've had so much success there, you wonder why they don't go there all the time. The first time they visit it, Gidley finds a little crack. Markwood nearly comes up with a try. They certainly are struggling in that right-hand defence, the West Tigers.
Good sign for Gidley. It was February the 3rd where he suffered that broken ankle in a trial against Parramatta. Oh, West Tigers, the scrum pace, that is heart and mouth stuff. Scrum 10 metres out from your own line. They retain possession, and now they've lost it. Well, they retained it, but not for long. They have opened the door yet again for Newcastle. On the back of their own mistakes. Bill Peden, he's 15 away. Smith has got him. He climbed a little high in the tackle. Tyron Smith, the tallest man on the Tigers side. Simpson continuing on his good form of last week. Badiris. Andrew Johns. Is this the try coming? Hughes into the line. Got away from Murphy. Not so Lincoln Withers. 5 metres away. McDougall's already got 1 try today. Andrew Johns. Up to the line, and then Peden. Markwood flat-footed. Withers is around the legs. So they repel that tackle. Can they hang on for a few more? It is the 5th for the Newcastle Knights. Johns has just drifted around to the right side and with the ball and kicks back towards the uprights. Great kick. Mark Hughes, oh, that's too easy. That is just a training manoeuvre. You'd reckon there was no opposition there to challenge. We're off to the video referee.
Well, it's that easy that you've got to think that, well, was Mark Hughes onside? But there's certainly no dramas out there. If Newcastle are confident, West's almost looked resigned to the fact that he was. And there you can see Johns on the 10-metre line. All the chasers to the left are onside. And the widest of those chasers is Mark Hughes, and he is definitely onside. Definitely a 4-pointer about to be 6, and definitely too easy.
Well, Phil, it's not a pay for the Tigers. Are not meant to be too heavy a pay, but it was as if the Newcastle Knights were playing witches' hats there.
Well, we've watched Newcastle a number of times this season, and it's a play that has been used regularly. Andrew Johns comes from the left-hand side of the field to the right-hand side of the play of the ball, all the time signalling to the left-hand chasers that he's going to kick back to that side. There is no doubt that these players are onside.
They're outside that black line.
But it is typical of a play that Newcastle Knights have used for some time. The West Tigers even had a warning shot earlier in this game from Rudder himself. But that time, Andrew Johns' pinpoint accuracy. The try is awarded. And a great play by Andrew Johns.
14-6 then. Bit of a gap between their second and third tries. They could have found themselves behind had John Simon scored just a short while ago. But now, a bit of breathing space. And the Johns kick. Will he carry it into the Origin series? 12 metres out. And John successful in Sunday football. We will pause with Newcastle. Up by 10 at 16-6. 29 minutes gone. Knights leading 3 tries to 1 and 16 points to 6. And this man is having a very good afternoon, Mark Hughes, playing with a 4 on his back, but at fullback, with Robbie O'Davis still sidelined with that hamstring problem. It's been a month now for Robbie. Bill Peden up to the 20 and now push back 5. Misha now with a bandage around the head. And this Newcastle Knights side now outside their 20 with Bailey. 4 interchanges so far for the West Tigers. Badera short of the 40. Some well-timed dummy half running today from Denny Badera. Ben Kennedy, every time Badera has run, he's made at least 10. 5th tackle here for Newcastle. And blindside with McDougall for the chip over the top. Kafusi on the fingertips. And with the ball able to link up with Joel Kane. And back over the 30-metre line. Bit of confidence shown there between the two wingers. Mark O'Neill runs into Andrew Johns and they come again. Like a couple of rams going head on. If that in fact is what they do, here is Lowry. Can't say I've ever witnessed it firsthand. 45 metres away from their line. Simon to the right. And Lincoln Withers, former Canberra boy, hailed from Erindale College. The number 1 school there. And back in for Mark O'Neill. Able to offload. There for Mesha. And no sooner had Mesha got the ball than the bear hug was applied by Bailey. Simon will kick here on the 5th tackle over the head of little Justin Ryder. It'll beat them all over the sideline. And a scrum will pack 10 metres out from the Newcastle line. Let's take a comment from Paul Harrigan.
There's been a lot of talk about Lee Murphy in that right-hand edge of the Tigers. I can tell you from down here, the Newcastle Knights are pointing and going out of their way to run at Lee Murphy. So he's going to have a big day today. The last couple of weeks they've had problems with that right-hand edge. They've really compressed their defence up to try and protect him a little bit, but he's a bit flustered. He's coming out of the line. He doesn't know whether to stay in. So if he doesn't improve, I can tell you blokes like Anna McDougall are going to have a big day today.
And Ryder coming up with the ball from the scrum. We saw Clinton O'Brien waiting to come on. He'll get his chance in just a moment. In fact, right now, O'Brien returns after a 4-match suspension. Gidley attempting to shrug away from Carlaw there. Simpson was the man replaced by O'Brien. Bailey. Mesha rushed up out of the line. Missed. So did O'Neill. And Bailey gets it back to the 30. 16-6 to Newcastle. Terrible play the ball from Bailey. O'Brien's dropped it. And it's all come about from the untidy play at the play the ball. O'Brien, timing was then out.
I tend to think Julian Bailey lost the ball here anyway. He knocked on there. So a little bit of justice served for the Tigers.
Well, I said it earlier, a lot of the close calls are just not going their way here. Lincoln Withers working this scrum. It was Simon, and then for Murphy. Try and go down sweet, probably more so for Murphy than any other player right at the moment. Comes back infield here for Ben Galea. He's given them good mileage off the bench in recent times. Ben Galea, Tyron Smith, only 23 away for O'Neill. Good defence from Newcastle. Medeiros the man, a hit man that time. Jason Lowry looking for a third career try. 10 metres away from the Newcastle line, Mesha. And there it comes for Withers, able to offload in the Peden tackle. Mesha turns and passes. And with Ben Galea. But no panic from the Newcastle defence. A few offloads there, but they stood their ground. Simon going to kick across field here for Tahu. I still reckon he's the best jumper in the Newcastle side. And again, he shows why.
Yes, most players would allow the ball to come down onto the chest, but not Tamana Tahu. Up above his head, diffused it beautifully. He's an outstanding young talent and stayed in the field of play.
Well, it's an AFL skill, Peter, that only a few players. Pat Richards is another that does it, likes to get their hands up above his head. Doesn't wait for the ball to come right down. Perhaps the AFL boys learned it off the league boys many years back, around 1909. Newcastle with it, 5 metres inside their own half. Andrew Johns will kick from outside the 40. Kafusi's got a bit of work here. The kick was from outside the 40. I'm not sure whether he knows that, though. Kafusi with it and linking up with Sears. And Sears back. Gee, he left a few trips behind there. McDougall missed him. That's pretty good work from the Tigers at the back.
He's a very dangerous player, is Matt Sears. Was heavily involved in the no try for John Simon earlier in the match. And every time he touches the football off a support player, he's got blinding speed. He needs to be watched in the middle of the ruck by the Knights as we come into the last 6 minutes of this first half.
Lincoln Withers. Andrew Johns rushed up quickly there. John Simon got away from Bailey. Simon with his 5th club and his time in the premiership. He has covered a few miles, kilometres. Here is centre. 35 away from the Knights line. Trailing by 10. 5 remaining in this first half. John Simon. And the intercept pass didn't find Withers. Found Paul Marquardt. He's having an unusual afternoon, Paul Marquardt, where he's finding himself. Rudder. Some of the crowd thought the Tigers were offside inside the 10. Clinton O'Brien. Short of halfway. Medeiros. Marquardt. Another one of the 30-somethings in the Newcastle squad. Peden the other one. Medeiros for Kennedy. A juggle. Juggled it twice, actually. Clamped it between his legs. It's a pretty good trick. 30 metres away from the Tigers line. Rudder for Johns. And then the second man play with Hughes and alive for Gidley. Beautiful skills. Tahu. 20 away from the line. In and away from Simon. And then somehow he's lost the ball. He'd beaten his man. And then somehow the ball's just gone. What happened?
Yeah, we're going to have a look at this. Beautiful hands from Gidley. Very quick hands. Joel Kane raced in and he got him. Now, look, he pushes John Simon away. Now, I think he's just going to change the ball into his... Well, he didn't try to do anything. It just slipped straight out of his right hand. He'd done all the hard work, sizing up the fullback to see what he was going to do. Bang, don't argue to John Simon. And the ball just comes straight out of his grasp. He can't believe it.
Just to hold up in play with John Carlaw receiving some attention. Paul Harrigan sideline.
Yeah, we're seeing so many ball handlings today. I'll tell you what, as the sun starts to creep through in patches, the humidity's coming up. It really is greasy conditions. Expect a few more of that today.
John Carlaw's face is a mess, if you want me to describe it right at the moment. Right on the hooter for John Carlaw. Ben Black rushes out there. This is going to cause a bit of a reshuffle in the Tigers' back line. So they've got Withers, Black and Simon all out there, and as this scrum packs down, well, Ben Black's out on the left wing because Carlaw's come to centre field. But we'll see how they line up shortly. Mesha and Tyron Smith inside the final 4 of this first half. Round 10. Mark O'Neill, good player, hasn't had much first grade this year, but played 25 matches last season. And they're 5 metres short of halfway. Good charge from Galea, and Mesha for Black. Straight away back kicking, and he's got them out here. Ryder up on the line before the last tackle. Hughes back in goal. Perfectly weighted kick from Ben Black. Kafusi gets there on Hughes. Good play all round. Hughes back to the field of play, and then Black spoils it all with a second challenge.
Yeah, the job had been done here. Good work by Kafusi. Black got down there, just had to mark up, make him play the ball. Had all his troops behind him, ready to defend. Only one Newcastle Knight back there, Ryder, to run the ball. Quite silly, gives away a penalty there and relieves the pressure for the Knights.
Well, you want him playing the ball quickly there. None of their players back on side.
And the reshuffle for the Tigers sees Lincoln Withers playing in the centres outside John Simon Black at half as O'Brien busts the first line.
15 inside their own half. Here's another run for Denny Badiris. He's getting paid by the metre here. Kennedy, he's got a healthy bank balance already on what he's shown in the first half. 45 away from the Tigers line. And another second man tackle. There may have to be the general caution in a moment from Paul Simpkins.
And there's no love lost out there between Ben Kennedy and Darren Centre. They've come together a couple of times in the last few minutes. Much more energetic performance from Kennedy this week. He was certainly inhibited by a back problem last week, causing more problems as Margaret takes it the short side.
They're 23 away. I think there's an alarm bell going off on the right side defence for the Tigers in this set. This is the way it's coming. Kafusi looks up. McDougall gets the pass forward to Ryder. It's going to be called back. I agree with the decision. It spoiled a certain try for Ryder.
Yeah, well, again, the right-hand defence, very, very compressed. They come up and watch. Kafusi caught out, just able to get there quickly enough to put McDougall under a little bit of pressure, and the ball popped up forward, but again, well executed by the Knights. Right-hand defence of the Tigers in trouble, and they'll keep coming that way in the second 40 minutes.
Funnily enough, the defensive problems for the Tigers this afternoon remind me a little bit of the way Newcastle fared in the second half against the Roosters last year in the final series. They played very compressed, and Brad Fittler and his men took that apart.
On their 30-metre line, approaching the last 60 seconds of the first half. Mark O'Neill. So the Knights may get one last use of the football in this half. Tyron Smith makes a run to the left side of the field. 40 away from their line. Mesha back in field for Lowry. They look to pick him up. He's still on his feet, Lowry, then keeps it alive, puts a pressure on Mesha. Well, they've made a meal of this, the West Tigers. They're able to cover up, and the tackle count has restarted. The Tigers had 3 goes at it. The Newcastle Knights only 1, but that's the touch that has meant the tackle count goes back to 0. And Kane has tackled outside the 30. Mesha to the right with Galea. Good step. Got away from Bailey. Galea inside for Kane. Then Kane away for Murphy. Ryder's coming from behind and nails him. What a tackle from Justin Ryder on Lee Murphy. And now it's on for Newcastle. McDougall back in the field of play and tackled 15 metres out from his own line. Exciting stuff.
And a warm round of applause for Justin Ryder. He's become a crowd favourite in the opening 2 months of this competition. He's got some tries, but he saved one there as Johns kicks purposely for Tamana Tahu, who gets it. Great tackle by Withers.
What a finish to the first half here in Sunday football. And I tell you what, Justin Ryder's tackle, even more merit to that effort. He's been limping since about the 10th minute. And what about this? It's Johnny Raper-like from Justin Ryder on Lee Murphy. And then the follow-up, the kick from Andrew Johns from his own 20. And Tamana Tahu gets the bounce. And then Lincoln Withers. Johnny Raper Mark II makes the tackle. Great stuff. There's more to come after this break. Half-time at Marathon Stadium. Newcastle leading the Tigers by 16 points to 6. Welcome back to Marathon Sunday football. It's gone a little gloomy during the halftime break. Knights up by 10, 16 points to 6. They led 10-0 at one stage. Could have been trailing 12-10. Wasn't to be. And they start this second half with a 10-point advantage.
And with the match stats, the only one here that gives an indication to a 16-6 scoreline is that one, third from the bottom, missed tackles. Tigers have missed 15 tackles to the Newcastle Knights 7. The rest of it is fairly even. It's the missed tackles, particularly on the right-hand defence for the Tigers. Let's get Newcastle Knights where they are.
475, the trifecta numbers. Raffle prizes
3 tries in that first half. 2 to Mark Hughes, 1 to Adam McDougall. And Carlaw the try for the Tigers.
474440, 47440.
Right, keep behind it, Knights. Keep behind it, Danny. Keep behind the line.
Here at Marathon Stadium, the Newcastle Knights looking to take their winning streak to 5 matches. It started in round 6 with a win over Melbourne and has continued over the past month. Last week they came from behind to beat the Sharks. And here is Jason Lowry on the 20-metre line. And working a ruck play there, Galea got a pass away, and that was brutal defence front on from Bailey on centre. Jason Lowry another touch. Centre field, 15 inside his own half. On the right is Simon. Kicks from inside the 40, but he was looking to kick to the left side of the field. It came more off the side of the boot and straight down the throat of Mark Hughes. Hardly had to move a step. And has tackled 35 metres out from his own line. Johns to the right. Gidley's comeback has been good today. One of the real positives out of the first 40 minutes. Bailey just short of halfway. Just looking at the defensive stats from the first half. Chiriako Mesha, 24 tackles in the first half, 40 tackles last week. He's on target to smash that here at Marathon. Ground where he made his representative debut here. John's kick over the top on the last tackle. Kafusi read it well coming in from the wing. He's cut down by Mark Hughes. Gives us a chance to go to the sideline. Paul Harrigan with a halftime report.
Yeah, thanks very much. Got Darren Albert with me here. What do you think of the first half, Darren?
Yeah, from our perspective, I think the first half was a good effort from us. A bit patchy through the middle of that half. A few drop balls and consecutive sets. So we're just looking to fix that up. I think I'm sure Michael Hagan would have said at half time to fix that up. If we can complete our sets, keep the ball away from them, then we'll end up holding them out, and it'll be great.
What about your injury? You're due back soon?
Yeah, hopefully back next week. But if I don't, then there's a split the week off next week. So there's an extra week for me to get better again. So I'm hoping next week. But all things considered, it should be definitely after the 1 week off.
Well, that's good, mate. Thanks very much. Also there for the Newcastle Knights dressing room, Adam McDougall suffering with the flu, but he's going to continue on. Also, Justin Ryder's got a cork, but he's going to continue to play. Look, with the West Tigers, Terry Lamb obviously spoke about the defence. He didn't go too much further than that, but he said if we can get some better completion rate, he was happy with the fact in that first half they made a couple of breaks, clean breaks with the Knights defence. If we can get some back-to-back sets, I think we can do the job. So he was quite enthused.
Well, Chief, they got field position here. They're only 25 metres away. Tyron Smith challenges the defence, gets to the 20. Early chance for the Knights, or for the Tigers, to pressure the Knights. Not a good pass. That's put enormous pressure on the outside men. Newcastle come up with the ball.
Gee, I thought there was a knock on from Adam McDougall. Not called that way, so the Knights now, out of their own 40 metres, take it one short of halfway.
Medeiros. Tigers not back to 10 here. Kennedy.
Yeah, he touched that, Adam McDougall.
40 metres away from the Tigers line. Clinton O'Brien. Ben Black's got him with Galea. Medeiros. Andrew Johns. Up to the line, then across field, then the inside pass for Rudder. He straightens up. Sean Rudder's only 15 away. Got a call. It came from Hughes. Hughes is able to get to the ball. Jason Lowry didn't want to bail of it. He thought he was offside. Bailey's with it for Newcastle. 15 away from the line. Fifth tackle. Gidley. Andrew Johns. Back to the blind side. Beautiful hand from Medeiros for Bailey. They keep it alive for Hughes. There's a kick from Hughes. What skills from the Newcastle Knights. And batted over the dead ball line. Line drop out for the West Tigers, but just some lovely touches in that play.
Yeah, deciding it to run it on the last tackle. I think Darren Sender was the man who came across and denied the Newcastle winger of the try in Tahu. Sender, a nice job there from the back row to save his side.
Ball there, Darren.
You've given Mark Hughes plenty of raps before, Peter Sterling, but today he's having a very good afternoon of it.
Well, look, he just plays the same every week. The thing about being a first-grade rugby league player is consistency. And what coaches are looking for are players to play consistently close to the best of their ability. I think Hughes does that week in, week out.
Clinton O'Brien comes back for Newcastle. Tigers' second line drop out of the match. Badira's here for Peden. A little shuffle there, straightened up and straight into the clutches of Mesha and O'Neill. But now only 22 metres away. And they lead by 10. Andrew Johns. Here's the man again, Mark Hughes. Taking on Lincoln Withers, who's still out in the centres with Carlaw off. Andrew Johns, long pass. 2 passes they've covered more than half the width of the field. Rudder's pass back inside for Johns. A step away from Lowry. Overhead ball it came for Gidley. Step off the right, passes off the ground. Play on for Newcastle. Knight saying 6 to go, but Simpkins ruling it wasn't played out by the Tigers. Quick hands from Andrew Johns, and Tahu had a little passage there in the corner. Wasn't able to take the pass. He's not happy.
Well, there's no doubt that John Simon got his hand to that ball. The referee said he didn't play at it. Should have been 6 again for the Knights. They decided to come with another little trick shot down the short side. Tahu in some sort of space, but remarkably, in 3 sets of 6 since half-time, the Newcastle Knights on the attack have not come to the West Tigers' right-hand defence where they had so much success in that first half.
Tyron Smith, man who was named best and fairest at the Tigers last year and then was overlooked by the New Zealand Test selectors for the World Cup. O'Neill, and back with Simon. Just outside the 30-metre line, Mesha. And Lowry, quick hands. Nice ball there for centre. A couple of the old Balmain Tigers combining there. And Mesha back for Lowry. Can't question his commitment since coming off the bench. Jason Lowry, virtually 2 hit-ups in every set of 6. Last tackle for the Tigers. Simon passed without looking. Murphy gets it away. Kafusi put it down. Then got a push in the back from McDougall. Newcastle back with the ball. It was sloppy from the Tigers, and that's been kind to them. 45 metres away from the Tigers line. Ryder. Chief reporting it's a cork for Justin Ryder. I reckon he's going on about 80% fitness at the moment. The Knights come closer to that Tigers line with Badira's and Johns, and keeps it going for Ryder. Then quick hands for Bailey. Sideways, then fronts up and gets within 8 metres of the line. Rudder at dummy half. Here they come, the Knights. Johns passes. O'Brien goes over. Marches over, in fact. At half pace to score. He doesn't get too many. It's easy, Clinton.
He doesn't get too many. He won't get too many easier than that. Poor read here by Tyron Smith. As Andrew Johns gets it, and we freeze it there. Just have a look at the decision made by this man to come in. As play continues, he comes in, and all of a sudden Clinton O'Brien says thank you very much. Sydney heads in front and has to travel all of 4 metres.
I've got no doubt that these first 2 runners were meant to be decoys too, only that Andrew Johns realised they were in space. Sort of caught Clinton O'Brien by surprise. He didn't expect to be getting the ball. It was going to go behind him to a player coming around the back. All of a sudden, great players like Andrew Johns realise you're not a decoy, you're the man. And puts him over underneath the post.
Only 3 tries for the career. Andrew Johns successful. And a comfort zone for the Knights. 22-6 in Sunday football. A bit of breeze at the back of the Tigers in their second half. No chance to use it as yet. They have time, the Tigers, but can they muster a few plays to get back in this one? 22-6 down. 16-0 down last week. They got back within 2 with 3 second half tries. 3 tries here and they are back in it. In fact, they could well be in front.
Andrew, we mentioned at the beginning of the game what an important 2 points this could be for the Tigers concerning their standing on the premiership ladder. Doesn't look as though they will move into the top 8 as Johns takes it to the halfway. At this stage last year, after 9 rounds, they were actually second behind Brisbane, and it was Newcastle who were way back in 7th.
Gidley now 38 away from the Tigers line. This following up from the O'Brien try. Johns is going to test them out with a high ball. It's going to come down to Kafusi. Kafusi handles it well. Last night up in Brisbane, Darren Lockyer put on a bomb exhibition that the Dragons had very little luck at diffusing at the back. Johns tried similar work there, and Kafusi did the business, and he's back with it now, just over the 20-metre line. Mesha. On a bump away there from Peden. Marquardt there also in defence. Centre. Jason Lowry runs at Julian Bailey. Tigers preparing to bring their two starting props back into the game as Tyron Smith gets over the 40-metre line. That is tackle number 5. They've made only 20-odd metres in this set. And the kick charge down from Simon. The charge down came from Paul Marquardt, and he's ruled 6 to go there. Well, I thought it struck Marquardt on the side of the leg, the charge down, or on the hip. And Galea with it for the Tigers. Let's have a look from John Simon. Oh, it just came straight off his leg.
Yeah, well, the fact that he put his hands up, though, means he was playing at the ball. He did get there to play at the ball, so the referee probably within his rights to give the Tigers another set of 6. Just with the Tigers, they're probably 2 or 3 class players away from being really competitive in a game of this nature. They're really trying hard, very courageous, very physical. Just a couple of class players short to get that vital break at different times.
25 away. Ben Black goes for a dart. Gets the kick through. Murphy's coming on it. The left foot kick fielded by the goalkeeper, Mark Hughes. And he gets outside the 10-metre line. Justin Ryder. 6 interchanges now used by the Tigers, only 3 by the Knights.
I've got to say that Michael Hagan, more than any coach in the competition, has really handled this limited interchange well. He keeps his powder dry for the second half, only ever uses 2, 3, 4 at the most interchanges in the first 50 minutes. As a result, the Newcastle Knights have won a lot of games in the back end of the game, the last 20 minutes, because he keeps his powder dry. He's got replacements left.
Here goes Tahu off the Gidley pass. A real test here for Sears. Tahu takes him on, gets past Sears, almost away from Kane, and it takes a third man. In fact, Sears able to come again to make the tackle. Good sign there. Gidley's offload to Tahu. They're 15 away. Johns is with it, the general. Andrew Johns decides to kick. They've got it covered up, though, the Tigers. Galea is back there. Makes his debut on the right wing, Ben Galea. And equal to the task on the Johns kick. So the Tigers survive. You'd call a mini onslaught there from the Newcastle Knights. Just on that interchange point. Daniel Abraham yet to see any football today, so they have a fresh troop altogether on the sideline. As now Smith comes up outside the 20. Mesha. And Skandalis to the 30-metre line. 5th tackle. And John Simon kicks from inside the 30. Hughes won't have to move all that far again. Well handled. Mistake-free game from Mark Hughes. Back over the 30. Takes on Ben Black. And Black does well. 22-6. Andrew Johns had a dummy half. Stepped away from Black. Passing there for McDougall. Back infield. Galea's got him. Right on halfway. And McDougall a little slow to his feet. Ryder tackled by Black. Knights bench. Grief closest to camera. Medeiros for Marquardt. 40 now away from the Tigers line. Medeiros inside for Johns. Here they go through the centre. Kennedy's there. Thought a forward pass to Medeiros. Not called. That's a try to Newcastle. And that man certainly deserves a 4-pointer, Danny Medeiros.
He's been very close to Newcastle's best this afternoon, and Andrew Johns again exploring in the middle of the ruck. I thought he was going to put Ben Kennedy away. As he takes off, he frees it there. You can see the gap that he's about to go straight into behind the play the ball area. There's Kennedy. As play continues, let's have a look where Medeiros is in relation to the pass. He's to the left here. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think the referee was in pretty good position, as Andrew points out. If there is a man who deserves 4 points next to his name this afternoon, it is the little number 9.
And a good lesson for young players there. Danny Medeiros ran out from dummy half, turned the ball back on the inside. A lot of players think their work is done, but he knew it was passing it to the best player in the game, Andrew Johns. He knew whatever he's got the ball, there's something on offer. So as soon as he turned the ball to Johns, he followed. Here's the ball. Probably looks as though it's probably gone a half a yard forward, although reasonably flat. I'm happy with that. Great play anyway.
And Andrew Johns from right in front, another 2. Another good day for the captain. Danny Badiris a try. We will break at 28-6 to the Knights. It looks a tall order. It is a tall order for the Tigers at 28-6 down. 25 minutes remaining. Big Newcastle crowd here at Marathon Stadium. And they want more. When these two sides clashed last year at Marathon Stadium, there was a big win to the Newcastle Knights. 15,105 the crowd today. Last year when they clashed here, 46-8 to the Knights. That was way back in round 3. And interchange rate climbs as Johns passes on the 40-metre line. Simpson, Scandalis with a back-slamming tackle, able to roll Simpson onto his side to slow down the play the ball. Rudder is with it. And now 5 inside West Tigers territory, but it is the 5th tackle. Daniel Abraham now out there for Newcastle. His kick on the bounce for Matt Sears. Trapped there by Paul Marquardt.
Paul Harrigan last year, with the departure of some key forwards for Newcastle, there was a spotlight put on their forward pack. Just talking about the interchange, would you agree that Michael Hagan is very well served knowing that he's got Peden, Kennedy, Simpson and Badiris, who are players that can all go the full 80 minutes with confidence?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, most teams in the NRL now have 1 or 2 players that can go for the 80 minutes, but Newcastle seem to have 3 or 4 and doing extremely well. Like you said before, he doesn't try to use too many. He only uses a handful per half. I think it's working well. But look, overall, the Knights, they're showing a lot of professionalism, because with games like this in the past, they've not quite been there mentally. They've just held their own and they're going okay.
And now Abraham back at fullback, fielding a kick from Lincoln Withers. And Withers rather followed up on the kick to make the tackle. Tahu in the centre of the field, running there at Galea. Then tries to play the ball. Well, he lost it to Mana Tahu. And another one of those close calls, Peter, has gone against the West Tigers.
I agree with you 100%. He lost the football. I don't know whether it'd make a difference to the scoreline, but Simon came in late. He did get a touch on it, but I think the ball had already departed from Tamana Tahu.
And Badiris for Andrew Johns. They start here with Grief, running straight at Walker. They're in that danger zone again as far as the West Tigers are concerned. Matt Parsons is fresh.
I still can't believe they haven't attacked the West Tigers' right-hand defence in this half. Murphy and Kafusi over here are counting their lucky stars.
Simpson back in for Rudder. Well, they're coming this way now. Andrew Johns, long floating pass there for Hughes. He's got McDougall on his outside. McDougall angles back infield. 10 away from the Tigers line. Away from 2. Away from a third. He's dizzy. He's tackled 5 metres short of the line. Badiris in a dummy half. Walker was the man to make the tackle. And now it comes back for Rudder. I reckon when Walker saw the ball go out to the left, he wasn't expecting to have to make a tackle on McDougall in front of the sticks then. Abraham's in a dummy half. Andrew Johns, dummy to the inside. Kennedy in reverse. Tackled well by Ben Black. 5th tackle for Newcastle. Bailey a dummy half. Passes up there. There was a try on offer. Only 3 Tigers defenders on that right side. Grief put it down.
Well, I think they bombed it on a couple of occasions. Just a nice little pass into the chest of Glenn Grief. Sees him go across carrying Ben Black. And I've got no doubt that Adam McDougall scores if he just continued on instead of trying to beat one other player down in front of the posts.
Well, Peter, he was being spun around like he was in Pin the Tail on the donkey there when he got close to the post, though.
He was going around Scandalis, and look, he was 5 metres out at speed. He'd have finished up closer to the dead ball line.
Ben Galea, another penalty here to the West Tigers. This was the run of Adam McDougall coming back in field. He's straight, then he's across field, then he straightens up again. Now he straightens, he spins, and cops the front-on tackle from Walker.
Yeah, I really think if he'd have just kept going straight as he got around the hooker. But I don't think it's going to make too much difference, although the Tigers, with a quarter of this game left, if they can put on some quick points, there might be something for them. But they've got to do it now.
Ben Black. 29 metres away from the Knights line. Mesha. And there is Simon. Passing for Sears. Almost ran into the back of his teammate Darren Centre there. 19 metres away from the Knights line. And at a dummy half, it all breaks down. Mesha, and then it breaks down even more so for Galea. Well, at least he's able to retain possession. And Skandalis, 25 metres away from Newcastle's line. Mesha. Centre. Inside for Walker. And then tackled over the top there by Simpson. Man low was Grief and then loses the ball. Well, the Tigers will appeal. It was knocked out. But those calls are not going their way today. Newcastle will get the scrum fee.
Horizons Golf Resort at Cofton Centre would like to welcome you to New South Wales Premier Resort course at Salamander Bay. Have you taken the Horizons challenge?
Well, there was a Steve Simpson hand there. You could see the strapping on the hand go and dislodge the ball, and the strapping was on a Newcastle player.
28-6. And the Knights start another search for more points from inside their 30. Gidley. That match the Knights have next week is against the Dragons at the Sydney Football Stadium on Saturday night. So in that match, Gidley will come up against one of the players that has been touted in some quarters as a contender, Mark Gasnier. Parsons back over halfway. Medeiros and Newcastle inside the Tigers' half with Grief. Walker went low, Skandalis high. Johns, fifth tackle. They will run it with Rudder. Then the ball on the bounce to Hughes. McDougall's on his outside. He sends McDougall on the chase. Kafusi's back there. McDougall's got his man, takes him almost to the goal line. They're two big wingers. And Kafusi able just to get in the field of play. Both players down on their haunches after it.
He's done very little wrong this afternoon, has Kafusi. I haven't seen much of him. In fact, nobody has, because he's a novice at this level, has made an impact in a short period of time, and been impressed by what I've seen this afternoon in a beaten side.
Kafusi, the right winger, and Knights, McDougall, the left winger. They're hoping the ball doesn't come their way right at the moment. They're both struggling. Fifth tackle for the West Tigers. They've only made it back to the 30. Slow play the ball, not what's required on the last. Ben Black. Bit of pressure on him to get the kick away. McDougall's got it covered. Well, maybe if he runs at Kafusi, round two will start. Trying to get away from Murphy. Held in the tackle, but able to offload. Abraham on the jump. It opens up for Abraham. Covered there by Skandalis. Medeiros, Grief, running like a centre three-quarter. Ran right over the top of Walker. 25 metres away. Medeiros, Matt Parsons, short pass there. Good skills from Parsons for Johns. Almost away, the number 7. 5 from the line now. They're on the rack, the West Tigers. Rudder, a dummy to Kennedy. Back infield, needs to straighten. Skandalis has him low. And the Tigers regroup. Simpson, Medeiros, quick hands. Tahu's had some difficult passes today. No knock on there. Fifth tackle for Newcastle. The kick's going to come straight out of dummy half from Gidley. It's a good one. There's plenty of Knights jumpers there. Kafusi jumped high and missed everything. Kennedy comes down with it and scores. Well, Kafusi, I think, seeing spots. I don't know what he was going at.
No, we've just wrapped him, and probably not his best effort on this one, but they're always a lottery when they go up. And as you pointed out, it was a pretty well placed kick here from Matthew Gidley. Everybody on side. And with so many bodies around the area, quite amazing that Ben Kennedy takes it uncontested.
Well, he just looked like a cricket wicket-keeper there, Ben Kennedy. Everyone had a swipe at the ball, and he stands behind and catches it plainly. Kept his eyes on the ball, strolled over underneath the post. Couldn't believe his luck.
Gus, what about at that critical moment for Kafusi going through his mind when he realised, gosh, I've got too far here?
There's a moment in mid-air where you know you've gone too far.
We will break. Knights up 34-6, Sunday football. Tally now 6-1. It was 10 points to 6 at one stage, and we do go back to a chance for John Simon in the first half. He would have scored between the sticks. It would have been 12-10 to the Tigers. Back at Marathon Stadium, and Adam McDougall has just been replaced for the Knights. Chief reported at half-time that McDougall has been suffering from the flu. The Tigers' afternoon just got a little worse with a restart out on the full. And Andrew Johns will kick for line. This the restart from John Simon. It's out by a good 4 or 5 metres. And they start straight away again. Nanny Badiris. Andrew Johns lined up to the right. Cuts out 2 with a pass for Rudder. Then away for Abraham. They come up on Abraham. It was Lincoln Withers, and then centre got across as well. I mean, no return in this second half of John Carlaw. Appeared to suffer a broken nose in that first half. Matt Parsons inside the West Tigers 20. Bring the house down if Big Matt scores a try. Yet to get one in the Knights colours. Only got 2 at Souths. Badiris, he's 5 metres from the West Tigers line. Exploring with great success. He runs out of dummy half. Andrew Johns inside for Kennedy. Kennedy chasing back-to-back 4-pointers. 5th tackle. And a second tackle. Mesher is penalised there. Kennedy wants a quick restart. They lead 34-6. Why not push ahead for 40? Onwards and upwards. Gidley, flick out the back for Tahu. A step off the right foot. And Tahu gets another one for Newcastle. And as far as he's concerned, his 8th try of the year, 38-6.
And that's why Michael Hagan wants to keep these 2 young men together. Ben Kennedy went very close. And unfortunately, in trying to slow the ball down, Cherry Mesher gave away another penalty in front. The Knights obviously decided to go for 6 instead of 2. And on the far side of the field, Matt Gidley, this unique ability to attract 2 defenders and pop a one-handed pass. So he frees it there. Just have a look. That's the winger. That's Gidley with the football now. As play continues, the winger comes in on Gidley. He's forced in because Gidley is getting outside his man. And the flick pass into the path of Tamana Tahu, who comes inside Joel Kane to get another try, his 8th of the season.
It's been a case of out of sight, out of mind for Matthew Gidley. Plenty of other players touted to be the centre in State of Origin, but again, the class of a man playing his first game this season, so brilliantly able to put that ball away to Tahu, who was expecting it. Another try for the young duo. They love it.
Well, it's a Nathan Blacklock style strike rate he's got going. Tamana Tahu now 29 tries in his 39th first grade game. They just keep coming. Andrew Johns, 5 from 6 today. This one right from the touchline, 21 metres out. Off the boot of Andrew Johns. Is going to hold up? No. Across the face. Smile from the skipper. 38-6, Chief on the sideline.
Yeah, good to see Matt Gidley involved there again. Nice little flick pass, but like you said with Tamana Tahu, an incredible strike rate with those 28 tries in 38 games from the young man. Incredible hands, and another good try for him. Adam McDougall, you mentioned before when he went off, said that he was suffering from the flu, but we heard him call to the trainer that he had a hamstring problem. We've confirmed that, and hopefully it won't be too bad. He should be still right for that State of Origin game.
Chief, in your time at the Knights, have you seen more talented youngsters come through than the likes of, say, Josh Perry and this young man, Tahu?
It goes through in cycles. When young Andrew Johns come through, there was 2 or 3 guys we thought of the same calibre. And it's just funny, as the years come through, you get Badiris and Hughes and all them, they all come through at the same time. And this crop is really good. When you consider the fact, as the Newcastle Knights on the attack now, when the Mariners come in, the Knights really did lose a generation of young footballers.
Well, what about John Simon there? In blackjack terms, he's keen to take the card on 16. He tried to kick the ball as close to that sideline as possible.
He keeps busting.
Well, almost busted then. That time he got a 3. Dealer got 2 kings, though. Newcastle are with it. Parsons. And if you follow the stats, there's another try in Tamana Tahu this afternoon. The last 2 times these clubs have met, he's come up with try doubles, the 2 matches last year. Can he find a double today? 5th tackle. Newcastle 40 metres away from the Tigers line. And Andrew Johns' kick straight to the wing of Kaufusi. He's put it down. It was knocked back. It went straight through his hands. No dramas with that decision from Simpkins. Crowd not all that pleased with it. And back for Matt Sears. It was more good luck than good play for Kaufusi. It just went through his hands. Joel Kane. He's having to change direction there. Badiris making the tackle. His opposite number, the man getting to dummy half, Mesher. He has reached 40 tackles for the afternoon, as he did last week against the Bulldogs. And he's still got 10 minutes to add to that tally. Back in field with Runciman. Player who only had played one first-grade match before this year. Following Terry Lamb to the West Tigers. Simon's kick to the wing of Tahu off the boot. Well, he trapped it forward and a bit of spin, a bit of screw on the ball came back towards him. Able to pick it up. Gidley a dummy half for Abraham. Badiris, Andrew Johns, he's got Kennedy there. Runs at that time. Lowry low in the tackle. Parsons, another charge. He's found the right mix, Michael Hagel, on Matt Parsons with under the 12-4 interchange. Took a few weeks for that to happen. For Matt to be comfortable in the role he's playing here. Fifth tackle for Newcastle. 22 metres out. And the kick from Badiris. They've got it covered. Joel Kane. And cops the first tackle 10 metres out from his own line. Paul Marquardt getting ready to come back on. Next weekend, round 11. Great game to kick off the weekend's action. Friday night football from ANZ. The Broncos against the Sharks. Both winners last night. And two of the teams up with a top bracket of sides in this year's premiership. Broncos will be chasing 16 straight at home. It's an incredible record. Measure back for O'Neill. And it's a rematch of a finals match last year where the Sharks played Brisbane the first week of the quarters. Had a chance to win that one. Ben Black's put this down on the last tackle. This will be a changeover. 35 away from the Tigers line. Just a look at the crucial moment there. Glenn 31 away from the line. Just wanted to change up the sleeve of the Tigers. 2 for the Knights. With Rudder. Run straight past Mesha. There's no one at home now, and Rudder gets a try. Tragic for Chiriako Mesha, the #1 tackler for the Tigers. He's missed one there, and Sean Rudder fires through for a try, 42-6.
Yeah, it's a little bit of lazy defence too from the West Tigers fullback Matt Sears. You'll see him in behind the line. He really didn't follow the play at all. Even though Rudder came through and stumbled, he was a long way out of position. Fullback that close to his own line has got to be searching in behind the rucks and looking for opportunities. Rudder, who's had a very, very good game today, gets on the outside of the young hooker from, well, not the young hooker, but the small hooker from the West Tigers. Bumps him off, shows good pace to get across. Matt Sears realising his error in not being in the right position at the right time.
Yeah, Sean Rudder knows that he is probably the man under the gun. He's been very, very good for his side in the first 9 weeks, but Michael Hagan has to make some tough decisions with all of his troops coming back on deck. We pointed out earlier, we heard of Darren Albert back maybe next week, definitely a fortnight at the most. Of course, Robbie O'Davis is about the same distance away. Tough to fit them all in. As Johns, well, he's learnt from his last kick.
From 5 metres in from touch, successful Andrew Johns. Now the target is 50. It's 44-6. Well, Chief, you play coach. What do you do if they're all fit? Where does Rudder play?
It's a pretty good question. I don't quite know. Sean Rudder has made it known from the very start he wants to play 5'8" desperately. He started off a little bit slow, but he's picked up to the form you see right now. I think Mick Hagan's intentions is to use Matthew Gidley when he comes back, though.
And Shane Walker sums up what the Tigers are feeling, what the fans watching at home are feeling, and those that have made their way to Marathon. 44-6 scoreline. They have to regroup. They've got a big match back at Leichhardt next Sunday that we will cover against Parramatta. They do lift back there at Leichhardt. Abraham with the ball, 20 metres away from his own line. And Marquardt. Badiris a dummy half. Clinton O'Brien, one of a number of the Knights to get tries today. Lowry there in defence with Scandalis. Andrew Johns steps off the right. They're away again with Abraham inside the West Tigers half. Last line of defence, fullback on fullback. And Rudder on the right. They'll work towards Tahu's wing with Bailey. He's only 25 away. And they've still got tackles up their sleeve. Disputed possession there between Black and Bailey. Johns, this is the last. That kick across field. Kafusi wants it. Good take, Jackson Kafusi, and then lost it when he hit the deck. It was a tough kick to take.
He's got a wonderful array of different types of kicks, Andrew Johns, that puts pressure on opposition players. See there, a little bobble there. The ball, he was facing his own goal line, but I guess the ball was projected towards the opposition goal line. But Andrew Johns, he really is a nightmare for opposition fullbacks and wingers with a different array of kicks that he can master from that right boot.
And Gus, they won't be working towards Tahu's wing anymore because he's gone off the field. As they line up at this scrum, Gidley's out at right wing, Bailey at right centre. And they're coming that way. Off the leg of Daniel Abraham, they come up quickly. Sears makes the tackle. Again on Daniel Abraham, and he's hurt, Daniel. Bailey with the ball. Ben Black, good defence. 12 away from the Tigers line. Final 4 minutes of Sunday football. Knights up 44-6. Eden now has it. And Lowry has him. Badiris for Rudder. John's second receiver that time. He'll be first receiver on the next play. Badiris delivers the pass for the halfback. Kennedy goes straight through. And a few of those tries today have been as easy as that. Again a missed tackle. Right side for the Tigers. Lincoln Withers that time missed. And Johns will have a kick for the half century.
It is a different Ben Kennedy this week. I said during the course of the commentary, and I am his biggest fan, that he did nothing against the Sharks. That back problem, it certainly affected his performance, but he's been back to his athletic best this afternoon. Good strong leg drive, takes him out of the tackle of Withers. He lurks on the fringe of the ruck, gets his second, and I think is a lay-down misère to be in the back row in a blue jersey in a fortnight.
Well, he was there for all 3 matches last season, suffered a serious ankle injury in the last game. The massacre at Stadium Australia in Game 3. Chronic shoulder injuries he took through last year, corrected all of that after the World Cup. And this kick for Johns, that margin, the 50 is up, it's 50-6 and equals the Tigers' biggest ever defeat. Not necessarily a stat they wanted to hear about, Chief.
Yeah, well, Ben Kennedy, he'll enjoy this try. Doesn't get too many. Hit the gap perfectly, but Andrew Johns, for him to win a man of the match or get an exception from his players, he's got to play a game that's out of this world. And I tell you what, for my mind, he's done it again. Just everything he does, his defence is perfect, his ball playing, his leadership, he's just an amazing player. Probably no one's had more headlines than in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and he deserves them all.
And he has 7 goals today. Season tally to 114 points. In 10 rounds of football. Simon's going for that kick again. Oh, the dealer's got blackjack again on John Simon. Out on the full. I wouldn't read about it. He's tried it 3 times. Kennedy does the right thing standing outside of the field of play. And now the Knights attack 30 metres away. This is party mode as far as the red and blue men are concerned. Rudder, he's only 15 away. Tigers defence. A rabble. Now their line is set.
Well, you can't complain about it because there is none.
Andrew Johns back inside for O'Brien. He's only 8 metres away. 15,000 plus crowd. They've hung around him right to the finish. Now Walker will be penalised for the challenge. Badiris takes the quick tap. Runs it to the right. Rudder brings Simpson into the play. Black hanging on for dear life, and Simpson rolls a pass out the back. Play on, they say. Badiris throws the big pass over the top. Peden on the bounce. He's 15 away. And Smith makes the tackle. An exciting final 60 seconds for Newcastle. Hughes, Andrew Johns, loose pass. What's gone on here? Simpson, he passes wide out. Gidley a step. He'll go for the line. Passes back inside for Bailey. Not sure whether he forced it as Sears got across. Don't worry about it, I'm not sure. The man who counts most is Simpkins, 54-6.
And Julian Bailey's done very well this afternoon. He's had a fair bit of game time, but this is beyond belief. That is the 2nd time it's gone out on the full. It should have been 3 in a row. And then within the next, well, it wasn't the next set of 6. They actually got 6 again signalled. Passes going to ground. Newcastle. Well, it's touch football there at the moment. Julian Bailey flicks it up off the ground. Gidley inside Joel Kane, around the back of Simon. Bailey did well to back up after being involved in keeping the play progressing.
This will look good with Matthew Gidley from head on. The ball comes wide, a little bit of a bobble here from Bailey. It's kept on to Simpson, Simpson on to Gidley. Now what's Gidley? One-on-one with Kane. Shape, bang, right foot step. Hold off with the left arm, ball around the corner, inside, that's class. Not too many players can do that.
Bailey, well, he seems to have recovered. He was holding the left eye there as he went across the line. Andrew Johns, his teammates have wished him all the best for this. He decided to put the left arm up, a la Mark Riddell. And Johns has kicked. Does it help him? Oh, Riddell's the junior's teacher. Johns successful again. What a player. What an entertainer. It's worth looking at again from Andrew Johns. The left arm goes up. Little look at the posts. He can do it all. Looking for his 8th success of the day. Big smile on his face. It's like he's a 10-year-old again, just kicking the footy in the park with his brother Matthew. The crowd in the background all smiles on their face. And Johns is kick in flight. Now the reaction, beautiful stuff. And a good way to finish Sunday football. It doesn't get much more comprehensive than this from Newcastle. They have scored 10 tries to 1. They led 10-6 at one stage. And from there, 46 unanswered points. 5 straight wins to the Newcastle Knights. And they sit high at the top of the table. 56-6, Newcastle has defeated the West Tigers. We will break from marathon and come back to wrap it up with Peter and Phil. And Paul Harrigan will have our Hyundai man of the match.
If you're going to go to the top of the competition ladder, you may as well do it in style. Plenty of that in the Knights' win over the Tigers here at Marathon, 56-6. They got 10 tries, the winners, with Ben Kennedy and Mark Hughes getting doubles. For the Tigers, John Carlaw was their sole try scorer. A dominant performance all over the park by the winners. Man of the match today, none better than this man with Paul Harrigan.
Well, thanks, Pete. The $1,000 Hyundai man of the match goes to the amazing Andrew Johns. Joey, what about that performance today? Good for the boys, only letting 6 points in.
Yeah, pleasing. I think the best thing about that game was that everyone done their job well. You know, there was times when it was really open, but the front rowers knew their job was to go forward. The centres knew their job was to stay wide and wait for the ball to come to them. So, you know, I thought Mark Hughes was exceptional. Ben Kennedy was, you know, he's just so damaging on the edge of ruck, but, you know, it's just a great team effort, and, you know, very happy with just, you know, them scoring 6 points.
Mate, what about your own form? In the headlines, I don't think you've been out the headlines the last 2 or 3 weeks. You know, the comparison between you and Kamal in your own form. How are you dealing with all that? Obviously, very well, you're playing sensational.
Yeah, mate, everything's sort of, you know, my home life's pretty settled. You know, I'm really enjoying my footy under Hagues, and, you know, my priorities now, you know, rugby league, I'm just loving it. And, you know, I said at the start of the year, I thought, you know, when I finish, I don't have no regrets. Just making sure that by the time I finish, I've done everything I want to do, and, you know, I'm happy with the way things are going.
Mate, you've certainly done that. Congratulations to my Hyundai, and all the best, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks to Hyundai, Channel 9. I'd like to donate this actually to Cessnock Minor Rugby League Football Club, so they started it for me, so get out and play footy in Cessnock. Good on you.
A fine gesture there from Andrew Johns. He may not have scored a try this afternoon, was directly responsible in about 8 of them. In a game, Phil, I think the writing was pretty much on the wall very early on.
Yeah, it certainly was, Peter. Every time we see the Newcastle Knights, they seem to get better and better. Their attack today was brilliant, but more importantly, it had that great element of control about it. And in defence, well, they only conceded 1 try, and that was from an intercept. I think their coach, Michael Hagan, will be very happy with their day's work.
The return of Matthew Gidley was a highlight. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I thought it was a very professional comeback from a quality player. Eased his way into the game, no mistakes. And then, of course, down the back end, some real touches of class from only what a class player could do.
Well, Gus should be pretty happy with the other result today. Of course, down at Colonial Stadium, a last-minute field goal from Paul Green has secured a 1-point victory for the Roosters over the Storm, 23-22. So with 1 game left to complete in round 10, that is this evening's game between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Newcastle on 15, just in front of the Broncos and the Roosters. St George Illawarra, they round out the 8, but as you can see, if the Eagles can secure victory this afternoon, they will move into the top 8. They can really make a charge. Don't forget, next Thursday night, as usual, live at 9:30 p.m, we bring you the Footy Show. We'll be joined by Paul Harrigan and Australian fast bowler Brett Lee. On Friday night, to kick off round 11, a beauty coming up at the ANZ Stadium with the Broncos taking on the Sharks. That's from 8:30 p.m. And on Sunday morning, again as usual, live at 11 a.m, the Sunday Footy Show with our special guests around the grounds, legend of league and much, much more. And that afternoon, the Tigers will need to bounce back strongly after today's performance as they take on the Parramatta Eels. Their cause will be helped by the fact that it is played at Leichhardt Oval. You'll see that from 4 o'clock. But again, Newcastle, very good this afternoon, high-balling in front of the competition ladder, enjoying the football as we have done. Hope you have as well. Until next time, on behalf of the Channel 9 crew, bye for now.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.